Welcome to Smoke, Chill, and Chit Chat. We got my volcano set up. So we're going to let it run. Gets a little loud with the plastic bag. I am your host, Stoner Joe. Welcome.
And I am the second host, stoner number 2, Crystal.
We have two stoners in the house today. And we were going to just, chill. We're going to, I got the day off. We're just going to talk and chit chat. This is what the podcast is all about. And then this is vaporized weed in a plastic bag. Don't judge me. Well, you can't really see that on camera. But okay, moving on. So I wanted to talk about maybe, weed and your first maybe experience smoking it, or we could just talk about your first time you heard it, or anything weed related you want to talk about.
Yeah.
Let's get the topics rolling.
Well, when I heard about weed, it was like one of those many drugs you hear about. And since I grew up where I had addiction issues in my family, I had this attitude of being hella against any drug. And when my sister was 16,
Mm-hmm.
I found a joint in her backpack. And I was 13, 14, and I was fucking pissed. I was like, oh no, my sister has drugs. And that was my attitude as a child. And I was straight edge through high school.
So you were against smoking marijuana?
Totally against drugs, period. I my perception of what drugs were was very limited and just against.
Sure. Here, you want to tell? Well, I was saying that.
Well, times have changed.
I mean, when I was a kid, I went to a Catholic school. I've mentioned, and so I grew up Catholic. I'm a recovering Catholic now. Sorry, all the Catholics out there. Forgive me. But we went to school and they taught us all about not to do drugs. They were like dare, that whole program. Yeah. It was like we would go. I was a little kid, second grade or whatever, and they would march us down to the park down the street. And it would be a thing of all the police are getting together down there and they're going to throw a party for you guys. You get candy, balloons. There's a costume creature, some tiger or something, bear, or maybe a lion, right? And it was this party. It was yeah, and the cops were there and it was hey, the cops are cool. They're all playing the theme song to cops and shit. It was just it was this thing of you could trust them and all the and look what's going on nowadays. So it was a thing of just not doing drugs. I was always told, don't do it. It fries your brain.
For sure. I think they're going to keep telling kids that.
Yeah, it rots your mind. And I'm just now I'm all stoned and I'm just no, it doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, times definitely change, right? I smoked for the first time at 24. So it's a late smoker.
Oh, okay, 24. Yeah, I mean, I smoked the first time when I was 14. So that's a 10-year gap of experience. Wow. But don't worry. You're catching up. Woo.
And I smoked a blunt with my siblings. We were living at this house and they set up this super ghetto tent in the backyard. It was made up of tarps and pieces of wood and
okay, yeah, get the atmosphere.
And they would go in there and smoke at night. And
so they would exclude you at the time. It was
yeah,
they would all leave. All of a sudden everyone would disappear and you were the only one in the living room.
Yeah, or I would be in my room and I was still kind of not for it. I didn't understand what you can get from an experience like that. Yeah. It was I wasn't so much against it anymore. It was more I'm not into it. And then I smoked with them and it totally changed my perception of it.
What changed? I mean, after you inhaled the puff pass, it was this rush of...
Dude, it was a pressure was released.
Oh, it was
very good. We laughed so much and it was like the best time that I've ever had with my siblings, like
Oh, that's
being that
lovely.
old.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
look, that's what marijuana does. You know, it brings I told my parents, you know, and if my family's watching, love you guys. But I've told my parents a million times, like, if you just let people smoke weed in your house, because they're like super against it. My
Mhm.
dad's super against smoking, against any drug. You know, my dad grew up straight edge. I mean, he would drink and then he gave up drinking, so he was like
Mhm.
super straight edge, and it was like a thing of like I told my family, like, if you just let everyone smoke weed here, we would
Yeah.
all gather here. Everyone would be coming and we'd all smoke together and we'd all watch TV and like eat dinner and have like a good night and just like chill.
Yeah.
The reason why no one does that, you know, in my family right now is just I think is because weed is not allowed at like my parents' house.
Mhm.
But like I encourage marijuana smoking. I think it's like a thing of like
I think
bonding, and I could remember smoking out with my siblings back
that
in
was
the
cool
day.
that you were so ahead of that curve. It's
Oh, I
probably
started
like
smoking when I was young.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean I was like 14. I remember being really jealous because my brother was smoking weed and I was just like, me too, you know? So me and him would smoke weed together when we were kids. But I mean, like, the first time I smoked weed was actually with my nephew.
Mm.
My two nephews, you know, they're actually older than me because they're of this weird age gap of me and my eldest sibling.
Mm.
He is, 25 years apart. So it's like
Yeah.
I had these older nephews and I was their younger uncle, and my brother actually got us the weed from some neighbor kid down the street that he went to school with. My brother got like kicked out of like four different high schools, and then eventually he was homeschooled. So then he would just stay home all day, smoke weed all day, and like go to school like for 2 hours a week and check in with
That's
some foot,
tight.
like, yeah. And then so he got to work when he was like 16, and
Yo.
yeah, so he had all the connections. You know, he was 16, he was working, so he was able to buy weed for both of us, and I was 14 going on 15 probably then. So
Yeah.
with my nephews, he got us like a gram. I remember just being like like, now a gram is like not much,
Hmm.
but it was like, oh my gosh. And we looked at it and it was all green, and we packed it in some bowl behind an internet cafe, and I got high for the first time. I remember being really hot in that internet cafe. Like, we were playing video games and we were
Hmm.
like playing I don't know, Counter Strike or something, and we're like shooting each other, and it was just a thing of like sweating and just
Mm.
breathing, and my face was burning up, and I leaned over to my nephew and I was like, dude, I'm so hot right now. He's like, I guess that's what it means by baking. And I was just like, what? Like, that was the first time I heard that term, like, for, meaning smoking. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I guess that's why they call it baking, like, wake and bake. And it was just this funny thing of like being a kid and not knowing, and just getting high and
Yeah.
just looking at my nephew. We were trying to play it straight. We were like walking into the internet cafe, and it was like, all right, just don't fucking start bursting into laughter, guys. What on right on cue, we like opened the door. We all just started fucking laughing, and we were like, 2 hours, please. And then, like, you had to pay like $2 for every hour or something like that back in the day for the internet. I mean, this is when, before it was in your phone in everyone's hand. You had to go to a fucking cafe down the street and pay $2 for an hour of Netflix. Imagine Netflix and chill would be a completely different thing if you didn't have the internet in your home. Oh man, those were the days. Remember? Did you get AOL?
Yeah, we had AOL. Wait for the dial-up. Listen to the
Yeah,
tone.
that tone.
Yeah. Hmm.
It's
The little yellow man, like joining
yeah,
his people at the end. We're
the
online.
little yellow man, just
I was
waiting,
rooting
just
for him, man.
waiting.
Come
Yeah.
on.
I wish I would have like Googled back then. Well, it wasn't even Google. It was like going just on AOL and searching, or like, dude, the
Yeah.
internet has come a long way. I can't imagine the weed like community, what it was like back in the like early 2000s.
Mm.
As now, as I mean, we're joining it now in the 2020s. We're a little behind the times, but you know what? Just for that, I'm gonna take another toke.
Wonderful.
Think we'll wrap up this podcast.
Yeah.
It's been fun talking about our weed history.
It's been fun.
I think think if you like what you hear, you should like, share, and subscribe. Um, we're gonna post more things and watch our old videos if you want to get some knowledge bombs. All right, take care, guys. We're gonna peace out.
Bye.
See you next
Peace.
time.